Hi, my name is Debbie, and I'm at Off Topic Things I Didn't Plan to Learn. And right now, I'm doing something that I didn't plan to learn. I'm starting a YouTube channel. I was watching YouTube this past week, like I always do, and I was enjoying all kinds of shows. I was watching shows about nature and animals and Africa and traveling to different places and Tai Chi and crafts and educational videos, how to do this, how to make that, um, all different types of things. And this woman came on a video and she said, I just got monetized. And I was like, what does that mean? And so I watched her video and she said that she started a recent YouTube channel um, several months ago and that she had just reached so many subscribers and so many watch hours. And so now she was able to earn money from people watching her videos. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. And then I started to get interested in that because I thought I could surely use to earn some extra money. And maybe I could do that too. So I watched her channel and I watched about 10 other videos that she had done. And I thought, wow, she's telling stories about herself. I've got plenty of stories. I could do that too. I think I'm going to try. So I started thinking, what could I start with? What could I start with? What would my name be? What could I do? And I just started to investigate all these different YouTube videos that teach you how to do this. And so there are gobs and gobs of videos on starting your first YouTube channel or doing your first program. There's videos on every kind of topic relating to YouTube. So if you want to be a content creator for just a small audience about anything, if you wanted to be one about repairing watches, or if you wanted to be one about making different kinds of knots, you could do that. You can make a YouTube career out of any topic and anything in the entire world. So it's totally up to you what you want to talk about. So I decided I would like to tell different stories about my life because whenever I'm talking with new people, they usually say, wow, you should write a book. That's a great story. And I've thought, well, I did write a book in the past when I lived in Costa Rica. I wrote a book about when I moved to Costa Rica, but that was in a different time period. So I'm not doing that again, although I might talk about moving to Costa Rica too. Um, there are so many different things. I lived in Costa Rica for 12 years. I traveled to Panama when I was there many times, maybe 5 times. My granddaughters came to visit and they traveled with me. Um, I sometimes they brought their friends, and then my one granddaughter brought her fiance with her, and we traveled all over to different places. Um, I've got stories about teaching. I was a teacher for over 32 years. When I was in Costa Rica, I also taught English classes to Spanish speakers of all different ages. I worked with the homeless over there. I I also made crafts and things to sell to earn money for children in an orphanage there. Um, I was in a lot of different volunteer groups, and that was a lot of fun. I traveled all over on the buses. I didn't have a car, so I know all about how to travel all over the country and see things on buses. Um, I've lived in Germany. I worked as a chambermaid in Germany, as a matter of fact, on an army base. When I was a teacher, I taught on an army base also in Colorado. I've also helped to build a house from scratch in the mountains in Colorado with my ex-husband, and we lived there for many years with no electricity, and that was an interesting life too. I've got um, all kinds of experiences with kids. I've got my my two, I call them my granddaughters, but they're actually um, not really my granddaughters, but I helped to raise them for 12 years, so I call them my granddaughters, and they live really close by me. And now one of them has a little baby daughter who's 17 months old. So I get to see my granddaughters and my great granddaughter just about every day. And I've got lots of stories about them when they were little growing up and all the things that they've done. Um, I've got my adopted son, Chris, and he's got his children too. And then um, I've got some children that I had as stepchildren, stepdaughters. I've got 4 different stepdaughters. Um, and then um, I've just had a lot of different experiences. I owned, I started 3 craft shops in Pennsylvania, and one of them burned down, and that was quite an experience right there. Um, I've had lots of different experiences in my life. Lots of different things have happened. I've had many different kinds of jobs. I've been oh my goodness, I worked for Project Head Start. I I worked as a teacher in Colorado, California. Um, I was student teaching in New York State. I also um, as I said, I taught many people in Costa Rica. I taught taxi drivers. I taught all different types of people in Costa Rica. I started with a baby that was 2.5 years old and worked with him for quite a few years till he started school. Um, lots of different people. So I've got a wide variety of experiences. I traveled to Southeast Asia. I stayed with headhunters in the jungle. That was like an extremely exciting experience, and I want to talk about that for sure. Um, if there's anything that you would like to hear about in my life experiences that I've already mentioned, ask me a question in the comments, and I'll be glad to make a video about it. So I'm looking forward to talking with you and seeing you again. Thanks for stopping.